Hi, it's been a while. I'm Lia James, the creator of The Traveling Table, and we took a little bit of a hiatus after filming a few of our dinners and just sort of recalibrated how we were doing those dinners and what we wanted to achieve by bringing people together to connect and have conversation from different backgrounds and experiences. And for a while, we've wanted to do these behind the scenes shots or recaps of where are they now, the people who came to join us at the dinners. What did those table series open up for them? Or potentially, where did they go from joining us for one of our dinners? And we're excited now, after 2 years of filming our very first dinner series conversation, to be joined with Dr. Dede, who was one of our first participants. And she's here with us in Baltimore after having a wonderful TEDx talk to reflect back on the episodes that she participated in and explore where is she now? What's happened since that very first dinner that we filmed? What did the table potentially unlock for her? How did it impact any part of her story, or did it? And what are the parts of her story that we don't know? We didn't get a real deep dive into who the people were at the table. We got glimpses of them, glimpses of their stories. And now it's time for us to kind of unpack that a little bit more. Dede, I am so excited to have you here.
I'm excited to be here.
It's been a really long time since we've really explored what we did with that dinner, and it truly was a co-creation. I want to go back through that very first episode where you brought us along for your lived experiences and welcomed us into life through your eyes. Are you okay with watching the episode?
Yes, I haven't seen it in a while, so it's going to be an interesting experience right now to check it out again.
Do you remember where you were in your life when we filmed that first one?
Oh my gosh. Yes and no. It's a little hazy. Oh my.
Wasn't that long ago?
No, it wasn't. But a lot has changed and a lot has not changed. So it's a little bit hard to gauge where I was emotionally as well as professionally at that time. But suffice it to say that I was in a really vulnerable place, and being able to be at the table allowed me to dig into that and to expose a little bit more of myself than I'm usually or have ever been comfortable doing. And that was a catalyst for me, and it was meant to be a catalyst to encourage me to continue to be open and to share more of who I am with people.
Did that play a role at all in why you joined us at the table?
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
So, okay, actually, I want to dig into that before we watch, if you're okay with it. Because
yes.
I want to know this before we watch and reflect and see if anything changes in your answer.
Yes.
When you said yes because you wanted it to be the catalyst? Is that what I'm hearing?
I said yes because I wanted to know what that experience was going to be like. I knew what you were trying to do by bringing folks together, and just getting together with people that I hadn't ever met before was an interesting concept. And to find out how close can we actually get within less than a 24-hour period. And I feel like that particular group was so well selected. All of us gelled from the moment that we met, even before we started the filming. And I think that played a significant part in helping me decide how I was going to tell my story when I got my question cards.
I love it. I remember, and I'm curious how it feels when we watch this, but I remember being really blown away by how much you shared, because it took so many years of knowing you to know even just little pieces of that story.
Yeah.
So the fact that you just went wide open
Yeah.
and shared it with people that you didn't know,
Yeah.
It was really incredible to watch happen, and really I mean, I think I truly felt honored that you felt safe enough to share it in that moment. So, yeah.
And I thank you for that. And that was the catalyst. I didn't come in knowing or expecting that that's what was going to happen. But in the hours leading up to us sitting down at the table, getting to know everyone who was going to be there in the room with me and getting to know them individually and as a group, they felt like people that I already knew. And I think that was what made it easier for me to decide, okay, this is a scary thing, but I'm in a safe place. I'm in a safe space. I'm in a brave space. And it's time. It's time for me to do this, because if I don't do this now, when am I going to do it? And I need to do this now in order to make the kind of impact in the world that I really wanted to make.
Okay, you keep saying catalyst, and I know we're going to dig into it more after we rewatch it.
Yes.
But what does that mean? Like, you keep saying this was a catalyst to something else.
Yes.
But what was it a catalyst to?
It was a catalyst to me understanding that I had to actually be vulnerable. I had to show the parts of myself that I wasn't used to sharing with people, that was so personal. And the fact that I have a disability, being able to say I have a disability, I wasn't able to do that until very shortly before we had the dinner. And being able to own that in the dinner was a catalyst for me to be able to actually move forward with the kind of work that I want to do. Like I was saying at the table, there is no way for me to express to people the meaning behind what it means to include people like me, people on the margins, people at the intersections, if I don't show them what it means to be me, to live in this skin, and how difficult it is when I'm not included. So I have to be willing to show them that painful part, that scary part, for them to be able to empathize. And that's what it was a catalyst to.
Okay, well, I'm really excited to revisit this episode with you. It was such a meaningful moment in time. And I don't know, see how it still lands, where you still resonate with that person that you were in that moment, and get an idea of what has evolved since, or how you feel since then. And I'm just excited to rewatch it.
I think we're down to Dede's question.
All right.
Dede's question.
My question is,
You're so beautiful.
a moment you felt like you had to cover a part of who you are to fit in. And that's what I said too. I needed that drink. It's like, okay.
Yellow in this, like, I think this is
This was so beautifully filmed.
Yeah. The colors, the way it captured you is just really stunning.
Well, before we get started, I just want to thank everyone for being here and being open-minded to come and have dinner with people that you don't know.
I'm Dede, and I'm here today from Oakland, California. Go Black Panthers. One thing that I really want people to take away from first meeting me is my sense of sunshine. So, and openness to a certain extent, but like, I have a very non-judgmental nature. I don't care who, what, where you are from, how you identify, anything like that. And like Brittany said, instead of being seen, I want people to know that they've been heard. So I can't share a single story or a single moment because my entire life has felt like a series of
a love like
moments where I had to hide, obfuscate, remove, change, blend in different parts of myself that didn't fit into the environment that I was currently in, or to intentionally hide times. And the place that I am in now, where I'm starting to get comfortable with realizing who I am, all the parts of who I am, infusing all of that into the work that I do, is a special moment in time now where I feel like all of those things that I've had to hide growing up, I never talked about having a disability because I didn't know that you were supposed to talk about it. I'm adopted, but I'm also not adopted. My dad is my real dad. My mom is my real mom, whatever that means, even though she didn't give birth to me.
This was the moment I learned that you had a white mom. I never knew you had a white mom.
It never occurs to me to talk about that.
You didn't have a reason to tell me, right? Like, we weren't that close. But the more I got to know you and the more you let me in and you shared things, and the more I realized how much no one knew what was going on or like any parts of you. I just think it's really incredible and really powerful that you are feeling like you're ready to start sharing these things, because I think there's so many people that benefit from your power, and from the work that you do and from your experience and from your lens. And so now that people can potentially see themselves in you as well, because you're the one that made me feel safe as I was like accepting that I do now have a new disability, that I think it's such an incredible opportunity to give space for other people to say, oh, there's someone else like me that's gone through this, some version of what you're sharing. So I was speechless at first, just because I've never heard you share all these things out. And so thank you.
It's so true.
Someone really close to me recently told me.
You were talking about me here, weren't you?
I had never actually told them.
I didn't get it until I rewatched it recently.
Yeah.
And I was like, you were talking about me.
Yeah. Sharing those things, because it's they're not usually pertinent, or they're usually held against me when I share them. So for the most part, I haven't.
So what has allowed you recently to come into this and
I'm gonna give you a
My
hug.
rage. Seriously, I'm just like, I'm fed up. I'm fed up with the constant context switching, and just tired. I can't live if I don't come to the table with all of the disparate parts of myself that I've thrown around. Now they're not disparate. Now they're, what do I like to say? Look what you done made me do.
I love that line.
Wow, I can't.
That's my favorite line.
What you
done made me do.
Yes. What it means to be fractal. This trans woman used it in one of the user interviews that we did at Meta for herself, and she was like, mi identidad, my identity isn't fractured, it's fractal, like prisms, prismatic.
So like, was it
I want
that
us to talk about
like,
that.
you not sharing, was it because people didn't ask you questions or ask you the right questions?
They didn't ask the right questions. If they asked questions at all. For the most part, they wouldn't ask questions, but if they did ask questions, they were often ignorant, they were racist, they were sexist, and like they were to a child that couldn't figure out how to express what it was that was going on inside. And like getting asked like, oh, is that your real mom? Like, well, what's real?
Yeah, what does that mean?
She's my mom. She's raising me. Yeah. She loves me. She feeds me. She cares for me. Like, she takes care of me when I'm sick. How is that not a real mom? And they'd be like, no, but like, is that a real mom? And I'm like, well, what else is a real mom? Did she give birth to you? No. But does that make her any less my mom? And then they try to rephrase what I said and say, oh, she's your stepmom because she's married to your dad. And I'm like, no. Everyone says stepmom, and I'm like, she's not my stepmom. My dad divorced my birth mom. They were never married. So I have two moms. They're both real.
They both live with her in her house.
Yes.
Both her moms live
in a way that
with her.
With me.
Yeah.
So I just stopped.
Yeah. Fair. I mean, it makes complete sense. Like, especially if you're going to be completely dismissed.
Can I ask you about
even
that?
with a given answer.
Okay? Yeah.
You know, so it's like.
Because that's like
But
a
I was
really
just
cool
curious
story.
because if this is something that's new for you, to share in this way, in this vulnerable way, now. So even as an adult, was it that people just weren't curious? Because for example, I just met you like, what, 48 hours ago even?
That's funny.
I already feel really connected to you. I really enjoy you. And I hope we're friends.
For a while. For a while.
Just throwing that out there.
Just for this moment.
You know, like you mentioned having sickle cell and it's hard to even know what to ask somebody who's been suffering from a disability, including you, Lia, like with everything that would happen with your eye.
Yes.
I find myself feeling like really, maybe selfish is the word I would use for not asking you more about it, because I don't know how to ask. And I also don't want to bring up something that maybe you like, you know, I just don't want to rock the boat, you know, sometimes. And I'm curious. It's not for lack of desire of knowing more about your experience, but it's sometimes really difficult to know what to say or what to ask. And I think maybe if you could provide us here and this whole experience with ways for us to engage in those conversations and be more curious about what disability is, you know, especially the ones that are unseen, because your eye looks beautiful to me. Like I would never know had I not known. And of course I would never know had I not known. And anybody who's suffering from depression, you know, like a deep loneliness or, you know, just something else that's like hidden. How do you ask?
Like Leah's curious, I'm curious. The work that I do, like you have to approach it with intentional curiosity. You have to be open to asking people questions, and you have to be open enough and vulnerable enough with yourself to be vulnerable with someone else. So you have to approach it in a manner that's like, I don't understand, and I would love to understand. What do you experience? Can you walk me through? If you're comfortable sharing. And I also need to then be comfortable enough to be able to say, I can walk you through within this context or right now, or if I'm not comfortable right now, it's still too fresh or too painful, but maybe at a later time we can talk about it. And we're not taught that, as Leah said, we're not taught to be able to have that kind of dialogue where we're able to actually share who we are, our perspectives, our lived experiences, and know that this is our truth, and it may not be the same as your truth, but it doesn't make it any less true for me just because it hasn't been your truth. Right. And I think that's something that's missing from our abilities to have dialogue with one another.
Absolutely. So if I were to deduce this, you know, using my skills as a therapist,
It's curiosity.
Yes. Curiosity on the maybe the inquisitors. If you want to use that. Yeah. But like if I want to like ask questions that I need answers to, the curiosity piece is so powerful. That feels genuine and intentional, right? And then on the other side, maybe it's permission, you know, so even for me, like permission to say no, that I don't really want to answer that, or that doesn't feel good for me right now, but I hope to be able to share it at a later time. Or, yeah, actually I feel pretty healed and I can share this with you. So just the permission. So permission and curiosity, it feels like the two things we need to share.
I agree. One thing that I remember now that I thought about at the time was that I really wanted to connect the sense of vulnerability and being able to actually explain what I experience when I have a sickle cell crisis or something like that. If somebody asks, oh, like, I don't know about sickle cell, what's it like? I haven't had things to point to in media until recently, for example, to explain what it's been like. And I really wanted to connect with Lawrence on the VR part because I have believed for so long that one of the paths that I had to take that felt safer for me rather than exposing myself was to have somebody else experience something similar. It didn't have to be experiencing pain because it's hard to do right now. Like you need haptic suits, and even then I don't think it's pain. But like have somebody step into a VR scenario where they have a different skin tone and interacting with people in that environment, how they're treated differently, it sinks immediately, right? So that sense of compassion or ability to get to compassion for somebody else, I think VR is a critical tool that we can use, and that was the direction that I was leaning towards in terms of offering a tool, a product, something that I could sell, right, as part of my brand that wouldn't take too much away from me.
Yeah.
And I wanted to lean into that a bit more. So I've got to connect with Lawrence again.
Do you need to connect with Lawrence again? I am curious. I want to play off of that for a second because yesterday you did a TEDx where you talked about being coded out, and you shared even more about your story and how it weaves into technology and where technology is not including you in the solutions, even though the solutions are supposed to be meant to help save your life.
Yeah.
Do you still feel like through sharing your story, it's not reaching people in the way that VR could? Because
I think not necessarily.
Okay.
I think VR can make it even more immediately impactful. Not necessarily as a substitute for people to understand. And I think what I've come to understand over the last couple of years is that VR is only one path of multiple potential paths that I could take. And the path that I took, since I'm not really that involved in VR right now, is to be vulnerable, is to step into that educational role, so to say, and literally share of myself the examples of when I am coded out, when that technology is harmful, and it's practically every single day, and being able to show small things, big things, middle things, was what I was trying to express through the TED Talk. And I think it's beneficial. But VR, in addition to that, could be even more impactful, for example, especially through storytelling.
how did it feel to share like you gave us a lot of imagery through your talk and tried to, I guess, put us into your shoes through that imagery. How did it feel to share in that way?
It took me a while to get there. It took me quite a bit of rewriting and speculating whether the imagery is enough. If it's not enough, I don't want to do it because I still have to live it. Yeah. I feel parts of it. It's not as deep as or as fresh as if I'm in a sickle cell crisis right now. But I still, in the telling of it, I have to let down enough of a guard to be able to express it, to be able to share that. Yeah.
How does it feel thinking about what you shared yesterday versus like what we just watched from 2 years ago? Like, walk us through that.
Oh my gosh. So what I shared yesterday is what I was trying to get to 2 years ago. That's where I was trying to get to 2 years ago. It's taken me a bit of meandering, a bit of stepping back and a bit of holding back, and then stepping in and feeling like, okay, no, it's a little too raw. I'm not quite sure whether just coming out here and being like, hey y'all, all of this shit happens to me. Oh wait, can I curse? All of this stuff happens, and it's not fun, and it's not necessarily hard to make those changes, but I need you to see me in those difficult moments and see yourself mirrored in those difficult moments. And getting to that place has been an emotional journey.
Did anything surprise you as we rewatched? Like, did it bring back anything for you?
It brought back the emotion. It brought back that sense of fear and vulnerability again. And I had a few tears, mainly because I felt seen, I felt heard, I felt Does that make sense?
It does make sense.
Yeah.
It does make sense. When we were watching, in one of the moments where we were both kind of like, you mentioned that you don't feel like your parts are spread out anymore. I don't remember the word you used.
Disparate.
Okay.
Yes.
And then you made a comment about how it really is. Can you talk to me
Yes.
more about what that was? Because
Yes. I used to describe parts of my identity or identities. And when I say my identity, it's not in the Western concept of something whole, something separate, something that is, I don't know, a microphone is separate from the cord and the thing, right? I'm different from you. But a lot of Americans or Westerners think when I talk about my identity, it's this core defined thing that doesn't have pieces that are connected to others or things. Whereas the way I grew up and understand my identities is that pieces of me are in my loved ones and they're in me. So there are pieces of me all over. And I used to say they're disparately spread out, but that's not actually the case. I heard this trans woman refer to herself and her identities as fractal rather than fractured. And I thought, that's it. That's perfect. It's prismatic. It's all these different pieces, all these different rainbows. And depending on how you shift it, you see something slightly different. But they're all still part of this whole that makes up me. And I cannot be me without all those pieces of me and all of my loved ones.
that imagery is so beautiful, like so beautiful. And it really does capture, I think, the human experience in a way that we don't often talk about it. Or at least I guess I don't envision. I can't say as a general population, people don't visualize it that way, because obviously people do. I didn't. And so I love that visual of your life. I have to say there's some things in there that happened that I missed because we were in the moment. And I even didn't really capture until rewatching it. Can I list a few and we can figure
Yes.
out where we go from it?
Yes.
One is I've known you since 2016, and I did not know you had a white mom. And you know, I've met Mama.
Yep.
And your birth mom, and I just assumed. I had a lot of assumption. Never even thought to be curious enough to ask you about that. I just assumed your other mom was also Black.
Yeah.
Because your dad is Black.
Yeah.
So I just made that assumption. So that was a moment I was like, oh, interesting. Learned something new about Dede. Love it. So I want to talk about that. Two, I want to talk about where those relationships are now, because that's a really beautiful, cool part of your life that I don't think many of us get to experience. Three, I didn't catch that when you were talking about someone was encouraging you to share these things. I didn't realize you were referencing a conversation you and I had just recently.
Yeah. I'll start with the last one, making the comment that recently a friend, someone really close to me, said, you know, you really should share more about yourself when you feel comfortable. And this actually goes back to the TED Talk. So much is connected to the TED Talk. And now I understand, you know, that I was trying to put too much into the TED Talk within the amount of time that I had. I was actually trying to put that experience into the talk. And that experience is specifically that I found out that my shoulders were dying. The shoulder bones were dying. It's called avascular necrosis in medical terms. And it's something that commonly happens to those of us with sickle cell anemia, because when we have a crisis, our blood stops flowing. It's literally a blood clot. It's just an extremely painful blood clot, and you can't unclot it. Your body works it out. But in the clotting process, you stop having oxygen delivered to different parts of your body, which is why it's so dangerous, and why every time I have a crisis, I wonder, is this going to be the one that kills me? And I mean, not to be down and all, but it's real. Even though most sickle cell sufferers or sickle cell warriors, depending on which you prefer to use, we don't necessarily die from a sickle cell crisis. We die from secondary and tertiary outcomes.
Okay.
So if I have a sickle cell crisis in my lungs, it's what's called acute chest syndrome. So my lungs could collapse, and that would kill me, not the crisis itself, right? If I have it in my brain, it would cause a stroke, and that could kill me, which is why when you're younger, we're supposed to have every year stroke MRIs or something, whatever they do to your brain, your head, to look at it to make sure you're not going to have a stroke. I had been having shoulder pain for several years, but over maybe the 2 years prior to us meeting for the dinner, I'd started having chronic daily pain in my shoulders. And so we discovered that both my shoulders needed to be operated on. But because I'm so young, with my hip surgery, they wouldn't operate until I wasn't able to walk for 10 minutes without the aid of opioids or narcotics. And same with my shoulder. My orthopedic surgeon thought maybe we have a chance at slowing down the process of the death of the bones, because if it when you have stop and go oxygen and blood flow, your bone joint starts developing spurs and the cartilage goes away. And so rubbing against each other is what is the most painful part. And in order to slow down that process, he offered something called core decompression surgery, where you tunnel into the joint and then use the bone fragments to compact into the very center or like furthest part of the joint to kind of hold it together and to encourage more blood to flow in. And I had to do both shoulders
At the same time, right?
at the same time. But I was trying to get workplace accommodations because I couldn't use one arm for a while, and then I couldn't use the other arm. But then like I actually couldn't use either arm, even though I was like doing PT, because they were both in pain, hurting. But yeah, even through that, I was just continuing to work, and you were like, Dede, what is happening here?
We were on a video call, and you were like, it was like I was asking you. I don't know if I was writing something for you. I don't remember.
I think you were writing something because I had tried to get that dragon voice,
That's right.
voice to text software,
Yep.
and they had separated from Apple, so they were no longer able to be used on Mac devices, and I only had a Mac. Yeah. I tried to ask my workplace to provide the software. They then asked me to go to the doctor and get some documentation to prove why I would need such a thing. And I was just like, this is way too complicated. I ain't got time for that shit. Ain't nobody got time for that shit. Ain't nobody got time.
Meanwhile, you were running a business outside of like working full time.
Yeah.
And you like, I think we talked like, it was like the day after, like 2
Yeah.
days after
Yeah.
your surgery. And you're just in this meeting, and all of a sudden you're like, yeah, I'm sorry that I haven't been responsive. Here's why. Like, I was like, shut your computer. Go. But also, I think I'm always really inspired by you and motivated, because you take life, like, you don't take life for granted.
Mm-hmm.
And or at least it doesn't seem like it. I can't obviously speak for what you feel or whatever, but from the outside, it doesn't feel like you take life for granted and you embrace all different parts of your lived experience. And I think it pushes people around you that do know to live more fully and to appreciate the parts of their life that happen. And, you know, we talked about it a little bit in the episode, but it is really you that I think shepherded me through my own experiences. And my disability is very different than yours, in that I don't have daily chronic pain, but I do have chronic pain.
Yeah.
And I experience life very differently than I did before my eye surgery.
Yeah.
And I think I felt emotionally lost for a very long time. And I don't think, as much as I kind of shared, I didn't, because I didn't know how to.
Yeah.
And I remember sitting in your kitchen for the very first time I met you in person.
Yeah.
Right? Because we've known each other since 2016.
2016, but we didn't meet until 2021.
And then I basically lived at your house for a little while. I just
Which was awesome.
welcomed myself there.
Now I just got to kidnap you and bring you back.
Soon, hopefully. But I remember sitting in your kitchen and slowly opening up to you about how I was really feeling and what was really going on.
Yeah.
And feeling like I lost a lot of my community, my friends, because I didn't know how to bring them along for my journey.
Yeah.
And it was you who pushed back on me about like having to share.
Yeah.
So I feel like there was this really interesting cathartic experience. And so watching you open up at the dinner, and being able to rewatch it and watch it again and again, however many times I have watched it, I won't admit to. But it continues to give me strength, which is just a really, I think, makes me even more grateful for our friendship and makes me really grateful that you're willing to bring us along for your journey, because I know it's hard and I know it can be painful to be that vulnerable.
Yeah.
So I just want to say thank you to you, because it's powerful to so many people that you might not even know.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
And also, don't be like Dede. don't overwork. Don't be addicted to work and pushing through and all the white supremacist BS, and the capitalist BS, and you being only worth your ability to produce, which is what I've believed my entire life, which is what I've been made to believe my entire life. So that's what's made it really hard to share the vulnerable moments, because I'm scared that it will be that turned against me. So instead of, let's say, I'm at work and I can't work. Like, there are just days where there's too much pain and I can't work, but I can't necessarily say that at work. And I feel like if I did, people would just be like, well, and so what? Okay, like, push through, take an aspirin, take a Tylenol, take la, 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 la. And there isn't the understanding that it's not Tylenol, ibuprofen level, it's narcotics level. And I just don't want to be on narcotics. But also, who is functional or sensible on narcotics? Nobody. And they make me feel like the world is tilted, like I'm crazy. And I would rather have the pain and quote unquote push through. But that's not been a good thing. And I think that I have developed really bad habits from trying to hide and pushing through. Yeah.
I'm really excited, I think, to see where it goes as you share more.
Yeah.
I think there's so much that people can learn through the experiences you choose to share, because you don't have to share any parts of you that you don't want to. But I think the world is a better place because you bring us along for your journey. It allows us to design better, build better, be more patient and compassionate and thoughtful, because we don't know what people are going through.
Yeah.
And like, pain causes us to act in really interesting ways.
Yes.
That like someone who's not experiencing pain might never understand.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. In my head, I'm like, oh no, I can't say I have pain today, because they'll be like, girl, we all have pain.
Not my pain.
Not this kind of pain. But I mean, also I get it, because yes, everybody does have pain, and to a certain extent, everybody has to deal with it in different ways. But I think this journey over the last 2 years has been one that's taught me that I have to be open about how much I'm experiencing, how much pain I'm experiencing, for example, or how much my body physically cannot do, as much as I want to take over the world. And I'm always like, yes, I can do it all. I'm going to live every single moment of this life to the best, because I don't want to waste a single second of it. And I was going to say, and I actually can't take over the world. I mean, I physically can't, even if I wanted to. I'm ambitious enough to try, but this little body has been telling me over and over, sit your butt down and take a break. And I have consistently been pushing against her and saying, no, I can do it. I can push through. I can do it. I can do it. And I can't. And I've had to come to terms with that, which means moving forward, the only way that I can make an impact is literally to walk people through my life, and craft my work around my body, my limits, my limitations, and my potential. Like my brain, yeah, I'm capable of all the things. This little body isn't, as much as I want her to be, as much as I've been pushing her. She's done so much. Yeah.
What do you hope somebody stumbles across your story, and someone who doesn't know anyone with sickle cell, never met you before, what's like the number one thing that you hope they carry with them after hearing from you?
There's hope. There's hope. Whenever I meet people who, yesterday at the TED Talk, after the TED Talk, I want to say 3 people, maybe 4 people told me that they were connected to somebody who had sickle cell. And that's astounding to me. And I I offered one of them, like, oh, well, because you said niece, so I just assume maybe 10, 11-year-old something. Let them know if they want to be connected to someone who's older, because I have had such difficulty meeting people who are older, who've lived with this illness into, ripe old age. What is possible, right? So I told her, I was like, oh, like, I'm here if she wants to connect. I'm more than happy to talk to her. And she was like, I appreciate it. She's 3. And so
Not ready for that yet.
Not ready for that yet. She's probably just learning to talk. But her mom or her dad would be people who I'd be willing to talk to, because they don't know what's up ahead, right? So I would want them to take away that there's always hope, and anything is possible. You got to demand it, and you got to hashtag do better with Dr. Dede.
I love that hashtag. It's so great. Earlier, I mentioned that while we were at that dinner, you shared that you had a white mom in your story. And I didn't know that until that moment. And I had met Mama, and I knew that your dad was Black. And so I just made the assumption that your mom was also Black. I would love to hear more about those experiences, because you also have a cool new experience.
Yes.
I just think it's really interesting that you don't reference those experiences.
Yes. I used to not reference those experiences. I stopped because I got so many questions about who's your real mom. And going into the hospital multiple times a year. Mom is the one who took me. Mom's white, and the nurses and doctors would be like, who's this white lady with this little black girl? Is this your grandma? Is this, because she can't be your caretaker. She's a little too old, right? And I was like, don't want to explain. It's really not your business. Not your business. Don't look at my bag. Nothing's in my bag. Thank you, Ludacris. So I stopped actually referencing anything about being a transracially adopted child. I actually didn't know the term transracial adoption.
What does that term mean?
It means that you identify as a different ethnicity or race. I would say race. And the person who's adopted you is of a different race than you are. So there's a transracial adoption happening. And I didn't know the term until I saw this woman. I think I need to reach out to her again. Maybe post on LinkedIn. And she mentioned being a transracial adoptee. And I was like, what's that? Because I know what trans is, but what's a transracial adoptee? And read her story and was like, that's me. Okay, now I have a term. So now I can use a term, but it took me a while to get to a place where I was comfortable sharing that again. And I stopped sharing in childhood, basically. By the time I was in college, everyone in my hometown knew, so I didn't have to explain.
Yeah.
So I stopped explaining. Once I left home for grad school, my parents weren't around, so I didn't have to explain either. And I just got into a habit of not ever saying unless I start talking about my family. And at that point, I'm usually like, my family life, my life is a soap opera. So the short of it is I'm adopted and I have a birth mom, and they know each other. They love each other. I've grown up knowing that I have two moms, and I call one mom because she's the American one, and I call the other one maman because she's the Togolese one, and we speak French, and they're both mom. But today, oh gosh, I was going to say, when did I start using it again? In the last year.
Only in the last year?
Only in the last year.
What changed?
Tamika.
Tamika?
Tamika Allen Koto is my chief of staff and marketing manager extraordinaire and all things Dede in digital, in the digital world. She has been phenomenal in helping me craft my introduction and not be scared to be upfront about it. And to the point that I think I sent out an application for a grant, or I was writing a story about my experiences actually. And she put it all into this crazy sentence that I absolutely love. And I started using everywhere. Hi, I'm Dr. Dédé Tetsubayashi. I'm an Ivy League educated, polyglot, transracial adoptee from Togo, West Africa, living with sickle cell anemia and chronic daily pain.
How does it feel to say that?
It feels good because it's owning all the little pieces that people don't know right off the bat. And it feels good because I'm like, this is me. All of the complex nicks of it. And yes, it's a mouthful. I am a mouthful. And I'm proud of being a mouthful.
I have to say, it's really neat to be here with you talking about this stuff, to have watched that, to see you on stage yesterday, because I remember in the dinner watching you talk, sitting next to you, watching you talk, and being sort of in awe, watching this like glow happen. Not that you don't always glow, because you do. It was just really neat to see you soften as you let us in a little more and a little more and a little more. And even as you expressed about your rage and the different feelings you were feeling, you still just like softened and glowed. Mm-hmm. And now it's like you have this relaxed confidence, which again, I've always seen you confident, but it's different.
It's different.
Yeah.
I've been doing a lot of work over the last 2 years to get comfortable with self, and get reconnected with self, and own that I do have power in different ways and that I hadn't expected, and that it's okay, even when it feels scary, even when it feels like, well, other people don't have that, so I should hide it, or other people can't do that, so I should hide it. But it's getting more comfortable with who I am and deciding, making a choice that no matter what, all of the complexness of my life creates pain, but it also creates incredible joy. Yes. Oh my God, that has helped tremendously. So I've had a lot of therapy. I reconnected with my roots and my ancestors, and all 55,555, apparently.
That's an angel number.
Angel number. I'm going to go check it out some more. But feeling reconnected to what feels to me like my ancestors and my guiding spirit, and feeling rooted now. I've made a choice to find joy in all the things, because that is the most important, no matter what. So part of finding joy and living in the moment. Oh my gosh, I've always been thinking about the future and getting to the crest of the mountain top and then being like, sunrise, Rocky, dun, 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 something. But I have climbed so many mountains that I have not seen as mountains, and I've gotten there and maybe was like, whoop, okay, no, there's still more to go, rather than dun, 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 dun. So now I'm trying to enjoy right now, because there is nothing else that's guaranteed but right now. So treasuring that and finding joy in the moment and whatever I'm doing now. And part of that is now I brought my mom. I moved her to the US, and she's living with me. She's been living with me since 2021, August, just a few months after my uncle passed. She was taking care of him. And in December of 2023, oh my gosh.
It's already been that long.
Yes. Oh, December 2023, moved adopted mom, Judy, into the house as well. So now I've got both my moms with me, and it's a handful.
But you're doing it.
But I'm doing it, and I'm so happy and so proud, and they're the living embodiment of what I've always wanted to achieve, which is to be in a place where I feel stable enough financially and emotionally, to be able to then give back and support them for the sacrifices that they made to raise me. So,
yeah,
and seeing them together, oh Lord, they're crazy.
But how special that like your birth mom, like let's talk about real love there, right?
Yeah.
Like your birth mom is in a home, in a shared living experience with your adoptive mom, who is your dad's wife.
Yeah.
And part of Mama's like gift to you was,
yeah, I will let these two people raise you so that you have all the opportunities possible that I can't give you here. So I'm a miracle. she's a miracle. Yeah.
I just love you to death, and I like, love your family and the ways in which they demonstrate what I think true love really is.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I hope everybody gets some fraction of that love in their life, because that would be just an explosion of love.
Yes.
And I'm really grateful that you are so willing to share with us. I feel so honored to know you, like deep in my gut, honored to know you, and grateful for every second that you choose to share with me, with other people. And I just hope you know how many people you touch with your stories. So thank you.
Thank you. I love you.
I love you too.
Yeah.
Our hope is to bring back the traveling table as a filmed experience and to show a little bit more behind the scenes of the people who are joining us at the table, why they've come to the dinner, why they've been picked to be together at the table with the other folks that they don't know, and really exposed people to different lived experiences. You know, I started this series originally for me to reconnect with the world after the pandemic, after my extreme isolation from my eye surgery, where I did have to relearn how to see and use both my eyes together and think differently. And I felt like I had this hypothesis that if I could get strangers to sit across the table from each other who would not have any other reason to meet one another, that I could help deepen empathy and boost curiosity, with the hope that it helps with removing extreme isolation and polarization from one another. I do truly believe the more we're exposed to people with different lived experiences than our own personal experience, we are more compassionate and understanding of why someone lives a certain way, or why someone chooses something that's different from how we would choose it, or makes a decision that's different than ours. It allows us to coexist. And I think right now it's really critical that we're exposed to different experiences from our own for that reason. I would love to see us soften a little bit more in our lives and be more curious about people rather than make those assumptions about why they've lived a certain way. So if you want to help us bring these series back by being a part of it or participating in some way, we would love to talk to you, and we would love to hear your stories or collaborate with you in some way. And I'm really excited to hopefully reconnect with folks that have been a part of this experiment of what it originally was, and hear their stories, hear what happened that got them to the table, hear the context that we didn't get to include in the actual series itself, and then where are they now 2 years later, and where are we going? How do we continue to have these conversations so that we can build a more cohesive community and society where we have compassion and understanding for one another? And I just hope that you'll join us, engage with us, participate in the conversation, whether you're actually at the table or behind a mic or a camera. We want to have this conversation in the most open, authentic way as possible. So we really look forward to hearing from you.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.